Himmler, why are you packing a sword and a metal detector? Mein Führer, I'm going on a quest. For what? Competence? Ancient relics, magic, ultimate power. Oh great, Nazi Indiana Jones. What's next? Nazi Ghostbusters. Unlike that weird gut feeling about invading Russia in winter, this is actually worth listening to. Ignore that feeling. Russia will fall in a month, tops. Ah yes, just like Napoleon, and the Mongols. And, oh yeah, us last time. Relax, we have really warm socks now. Warm socks, my frostbitten behind. My soul just froze and cracked in half. The Nazis decided to hunt for mythical artifacts. At the center of it all was Heinrich Himmler, the guy who was basically Hitler's #1 fanboy. He ran the SS, Schutzstaffel, if you want to sound fancy, which started as Hitler's bodyguard squad but quickly evolved into a paramilitary organization knee-deep in war crimes, genocide, and, for some reason, weird magical scavenger hunts. Hitler wasn't exactly out there casting spells and talking to ghosts. He was more into the idea of destiny and power. But Himmler? Himmler was the occult superfan. He wanted to rewrite history. In his mind, the Aryans weren't just some European ethnic group. They were the descendants of a divine, super-advanced race. A race that, according to him, left behind powerful relics and hidden knowledge. And if the Nazis could find that knowledge, boom, instant world domination. So, in 1935, Himmler founded the Ahnenerbe, which translates to ancestral heritage, an elite SS research division dedicated to uncovering the lost secrets of the Aryan race. The Ahnenerbe had a massive budget and sent expeditions everywhere searching for anything that could prove their mythical version of history. Ancient ruins, Aryan, weird-looking symbols, Aryan, some caveman's doodles on a cave wall. Of course, Aryan! It didn't matter what actual historians said. If it fit their narrative, they ran with it. And if it didn't, they just ignored it. So how well did this grand mystical treasure hunt go? Let's find out. During the crucifixion, a Roman soldier, Longinus, stabbed Jesus in the side with his spear to make sure he was actually dead. Blood and water supposedly poured out, and the spear went from random battlefield weapon to holy relic with divine power. Over the centuries, the Spear of Destiny, also called the Holy Lance, became a symbol of ultimate power. The belief, whoever possessed it would be unstoppable. Charlemagne supposedly had it, the Holy Roman Emperors guarded it, and Napoleon, upon hearing about this divine cheat code, immediately tried to steal it. Unfortunately for him, someone had already hid it before he could get his hands on it. Ah, the Spear of Destiny, I must have it. But sire, it's already hidden. Someone got to it before you. Typical. Everything I want is always taken by someone else. Well, you are kind of used to that, aren't you? What's that supposed to mean? I mean, your wife. She's kind of been borrowed a few times, hasn't she? Don't remind me. Hey, maybe she had a no short guys policy too. Short? I'm not short. I'm vertically efficient. Sure, you're like a human speed bump. I'll have you know, I'm strategically small. Right, just like the Spear of Destiny. Powerful, but hard to spot in a crowd. Himmler and Hitler were all over this. The Third Reich loved its relic hunts, and a weapon that supposedly granted victory to anyone who wielded it? That was basically a must-have item for their evil starter pack. Hitler already knew about the Spear of Destiny long before the war. As a young man in Vienna, he had visited the Hofburg Palace, where the supposed spear was kept. Young man, you've been standing here for 5 hours. Shh, I'm manifesting. This left such an impression on him that decades later, when the Nazis rolled into Austria in 1938, the very first thing they did, before even sorting out politics, was seize the spear. Sir, we've secured the government. Yeah, whatever. Now, where's my stick? Once in Nazi hands, the spear was locked away in Nuremberg, the spiritual heart of the Third Reich. So, did it work? No, not even a little. By 1945, Germany was losing, hard. The Allies were rolling in, and Hitler was holed up in his bunker, realizing that maybe, just maybe, holding a medieval weapon wasn't going to stop tanks and bombers. On April 30th, 1945, American troops captured Nuremberg and took possession of the Spear of Destiny. That same day, ironically, Hitler pew-pew himself in the head. Hey look, we found that Spear of Destiny. Cool. Oh, Hitler's dead, by the way. Well, that's 2,000 years of hype down the drain. Turns out Destiny had other plans. For people who believed in the spear's mystical power, this was the ultimate proof. The second the Nazis lost it, their entire empire collapsed. But it was doubted whether it's the real spear? Here's where things get messy. There are multiple Spears of Destiny floating around in different churches and museums. The one Hitler stole was the Vienna Lance, but there are other contenders in the Vatican owned by Pope and in Armenia owned by a monastery. Historians have argued for centuries about whether any of these spears are the real one or just fancy medieval knockoffs. After the war, the Spear of Destiny was returned to Austria, where it still sits in the Hofburg Palace today. You can even go see it, though it's under a lot of glass, so no trying to take over the world with it. Holy Grail. The actual Grail doesn't show up in the Bible itself. The first real mention of it comes in the 12th century, thanks to a French poet named Chrétien de Troyes. And you know it's the best historical credibility when the main source is a medieval poet. He introduced the idea in his work Percival, the Story of the Grail, where it's described as a mysterious dish or cup. Then it showed up in Arthurian legends and medieval texts. Some stories say it was the cup Jesus drank from at the Last Supper, while others claim it caught his blood during the crucifixion. Either way, medieval knights became nuts with tracking it down, convinced that finding the Grail would grant them divine wisdom, eternal life. Fast forward to the 19th century, and along comes Richard Wagner's opera, Parsifal. Now, Wagner was already a big deal to Hitler, but Parsifal was special. It was all about knights, magic, and the Holy Grail. It told the story of the Knights of the Grail, a secretive brotherhood sworn to protect this sacred relic. Himmler hears this. Modern-day Grail Knights? Say no more. Next thing you know, he decided that he and the SS should be the modern-day Grail Knights. Himmler genuinely believed the Holy Grail wasn't just some relic. It was a divine energy source that could give the Nazis supernatural power, maybe even make Hitler immortal. In 1940, Himmler sent a Nazi scholar named Otto Rahn on a quest to find the Grail. Now, Rahn was obsessed with the legends of King Arthur and the medieval Grail romances, especially the one by Wolfram von Eschenbach, which claimed the Grail was hidden in a mystical fortress called Montsalvat. Himmler read this. This is obviously a history book, not a fictional poem, and sent Rahn to Montségur, a ruined Cathar castle in France. Okay, this is it. This is where the Grail's gonna be. I can feel it. Sir, this is just an old fortress. Dig deeper. Maybe the Grail is under it. Sir, we've been digging for weeks. All we found is more dirt. We're close. Keep digging. I'm starting to think the only thing buried here is my career. The Grail was not under the castle, but that didn't stop the Nazis from looking. Some believe they raided religious sites across Europe, searching for any artifact that even remotely looked like a sacred cup. Others think they might have taken a Grail-like relic from Spain. There's a goblet in Valencia that some historians believe could be the real thing. You probably know the legend of Excalibur, a sword, a stone, a chosen one. Arthur pulls the sword, becomes king, and goes on to have a bunch of drama with a wizard, a love triangle, and a magical island that may or may not exist. But Excalibur and the sword and the stone aren't the same thing. Pop culture kind of mashed them together, but in early medieval legends, the sword Arthur pulled from the stone just proved he was the rightful king. Excalibur, on the other hand, was a separate, enchanted weapon given to him by the Lady of the Lake. Excalibur wasn't just any sword. It was supposedly indestructible, enchanted, and made its wielder unbeatable in battle. Himmler wanted to prove that the Arthurian legends were actually based on real Germanic history and that Excalibur was a relic of the superior race. Arthur was actually a German king. He was British. Pretty sure about that one. That's just British propaganda. What's next? You're going to tell me Shakespeare wasn't a Nazi? His plan? Find Excalibur, prove it was of Aryan origin, and use its magic to boost Nazi propaganda. The Nazis scoured England, Scotland, and Wales, convinced that the real Excalibur was hidden in some forgotten cave, lake, or ancient ruin. One theory? That Excalibur was actually buried at Glastonbury Abbey, where some medieval monks totally conveniently discovered Arthur's grave in the 12th century. Sir, we found an old sword. Is it glowing? No. Another idea? That Excalibur was hidden in a sacred lake, somewhere in Britain. Legend says that after Arthur died, Sir Bedivere threw the sword back into the water, where the Lady of the Lake reclaimed it. Sir, I think we saw something in the water. Excalibur? No. It's big, has a long neck, and kinda looks like a dinosaur. Damn it, Carl, we are not here for the Loch Ness Monster. Historically speaking, Arthur's existence is questionable at best. He was likely a mashup of multiple Celtic warlords, and the legend of Excalibur? Probably just medieval fan fiction. But the idea of a magical, unbeatable sword has been around forever. Now, if you've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, you already know the Nazis were after this thing. And for once, Spielberg wasn't making stuff up. Himmler and his goons really did have an unhealthy obsession with the Ark. Straight out of the Old Testament, the Ark was a sacred chest built by the Israelites under Moses' command. It supposedly contained the stone tablets of the Ten Commandments. According to the book of Exodus, the ark was not just a holy box, it was a weapon. It could level cities, summon plagues, and straight up kill people who touched it without permission. It was stored in the first temple of Jerusalem until the Babylonians sacked the place in 587 BCE, and then gone. Some say it was hidden before the invasion. Others believe it was taken to Egypt, Ethiopia, or lost somewhere under the Temple Mount. Wherever it went, it vanished from history. Himmler thought the ark contained supernatural energy. He believed that if the Nazis got their hands on it, they could harness its power to make Hitler's army invincible. With the ark in our possession, we shall be unstoppable. Right. 40 years from now, Hollywood wouldn't even dream of making a movie about this. That would be too ridiculous. Ridiculous? Pfft, we'll take our chances. What's the worst that could happen? Well, we could get melted by divine wrath. But hey, at least that would make for a okayish movie. Some Nazis believed the ark had been hidden in Ethiopia, inside the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion. This church claims to house the ark even today, guarded by a single monk who literally never leaves the building. We believe the ark is here. Hand it over. Open the door. No. We're the Third Reich. We take what we want. Cool. I'm the guy who never leaves this building. Guess who's more stubborn? Yeah, we're not winning this one. Others thought the ark was buried under the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, but digging around there would have been, well, problematic. Not to mention dangerous, since messing with the ark historically resulted in people dying horrible, mysterious deaths. And if this starts glowing and making weird noises, we definitely don't look directly at it. What? No reason. Just maybe bring some goggles, for science. But despite all their efforts, the Nazis never found it, which, considering how the Bible describes the ark's power, was probably for the best. Otherwise, we might have gotten a world where Nazi officers were spontaneously combusting in large numbers. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching.